I am still trying to breathe. So, I went today and I saw Avengers Infinity War alongside my cousin Nick and a couple of his friends. My God. This is just insane. It is just insane. So, this is a non-spoiler review. I will have a spoiler review out probably later on next week. This video, I have videos that I wanted to upload before this, but you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna upload this video as soon as I can get it done in it. Hopefully, probably Sunday, I'll probably get this uploaded. My God. Oh my God. So, wow. This movie has just completely taken everything out of me. You know what? I woke up super early, and I went and saw this movie, and then as soon as I got home, I slept on it, and I laid down. This movie, it had me going through so many emotions in this movie that I really couldn't even sit down and talk about it. I had to lay down and think about it before I made this video, and it's just insane. And then my Uncle Chris and my dad actually want to go see it too, so I'm probably going to go with them to the movie theaters next week and watch this again. This is just going to be absolutely incredible, and this is an incredible experience for anyone who is a Marvel fan. Now let me tell you this straight up. You're a Marvel fan? Do not, and I mean it, do not read any of the reviews or watch any of these spoilers. Just save yourself, go to the theater, and I'm telling you, this is a movie. If you didn't see Avengers Infinity War in the theaters, okay, you should have. This is an experience that you need to see in the theater, on the big screen, and I'm telling you, scrape up some money and go to your local theater and watch this, because this is just the biggest movie of the year. Just the biggest movie of the year. And it's just so fantastic. And it's really impressive what they were able to do here. I mean, it's basically everything that you could ever want in this movie. I mean, the fact is, with so many characters, and it just surprised me, there are so many characters going into this, and even some characters that you don't expect to really have a moment. They do their hardest, and what's interesting is not only did it fit the story, and it didn't waste the time of story. I could see if you're watching any other movie, any other franchise, they tried to get everyone in there, and pretty soon, because there's so many cameos, the story suffers. Not with this. Not with this. They pretty much pulled off everything, and every single character that you want to have a moment. The combination of every single character in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far has their moment, and it's just fantastic in terms of that. Now, this is a non-spoiler review, but I will say this, about 90% of your theories, and this is the most interesting part to me, 90% of your theories, 90% of all theories out there are just story notes, story moments, story notes that you just don't think that they could fit in the movie. And yet, they hit every moment, and it didn't feel like rushed. It didn't feel like it was just a clam full of fan shirts. It didn't feel like that. It felt like it served the story. And here's the thing, every single moment served the story. So about 90% of your theories, everyone's theories out there, they all are true, but not in the way you think. They don't happen the way you think. Like, it's just amazing the way they actually came up with this. The way they hit the certain moments that you really think, that's gonna be too much fan service, and yet it doesn't feel like it. They do a really great job at making every moment count and feel like it's just part of the story, which is great. Now, Marvel is known for three things. Marvel is known for great animation and special effects, and the special effects are amazing. Nothing different when it comes to special effects. They were brilliant. And then the music was absolutely awesome to hear, especially whenever they started playing the Avengers theme song. That was great. And it's also known for a lot of cool kick-butt action, right? It's an action movie. And trust me, if you're an action buff, like, I'm really not an action buff. I do like action movies, but, the way this movie ended up using every single bit of its action and everything in terms of both its humor and it's all just story-driven. That's the thing. This movie is so story-driven, and it's so funny because you think with how much they have to do. They have to make sure it's serious, but not too serious. They have to make sure there's a good amount of humor in it to maybe make some of the darker scenes a little less dark, but not ruin the darkness of the scenes. You know, they have so many characters. They gotta give moments to you. You just think there's no way they're gonna pull this off. And while I expected something good, I did. I expected something good. I got my breath taken away because the story-driven aspects of the movies, the fact that they used everything they had and every single note in the movie was story-driven, was just fantastic to me. Just fantastic. It is a very story-driven movie, and I will say this, you do have to watch the other movies, especially Avengers Infinity War. You have to know the history of these characters to watch this movie. Now, if you are a fan like me who have been just watching these movies the past 10 plus years, then this movie is very, very, very satisfying. And something that I liked about it is that they really, like I said, it's a very story-driven movie, but they meet everything you expect, but not in the way you expect it. And it just meets every single moment, every single thought, and it's just a great movie. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the characters themselves. Let's start off with Iron Man. Oh my god, so Iron Man, Tony Stark, you know, Iron Man's my favorite superhero, and it's because he's a smart guy, he's a genius, he made a super cool Iron Man suit. He's not super powered, he's just a really, really amazing genius trying to correct his wrongs. That was the original Iron Man story. And then Robert Downey Jr. Took that character and made it on the big screen. And everything that Robert Downey Jr. does in the character of Iron Man, especially in this movie, is just incredible. And Robert Downey Jr., this is absolutely his best work as Iron Man. And it's funny, I'm such a big Iron Man fan that the first movie I loved, the second movie I thought was alright, and the reason why is because I think, oh, Iron Man could have done this and that different in that movie. The third movie, I don't think I really liked the third movie. But you know what? Whenever he's in Avengers or any of the other movies, I think Robert Downey Jr. I just bow down to the guy. He's done just some fantastic work at making such a beloved character that much more loved on the big screen. And this is his best work in the movie. And granted, he lost. Iron Man lost in Avengers Infinity War. And you can see how that really ticks him in the wrong way, and maybe it makes him a little bit more regrettable. But in terms of both character and just the way he thinks is just incredible. Yeah, it's just a fantastic movie in terms of Iron Man, and that's just Iron Man. Now, when you talk about Captain America, Captain America, you know, it's just funny because I never expected it, but, you know, Captain America, it just makes sense that he would try to move on and look to the future. Look for a way to save everyone, but move on. You know, it's just so satisfying in the end when you realize, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but when you realize that everything that you want Captain America to get to do, he does get to do it in this movie, and it just makes it so much sweeter. Hulk. What they did with Hulk on paper doesn't sound good, but what they were able to do with the character of Hulk, mostly Bruce Banner, was an interesting progression on the movie, and I know a lot of people are not going to like it, but I thought it was alright. And the way they used him, the humor with him, it was just fun. It was fun. He doesn't really Hulk out that much and go crazy like we might want him to, but the way they used him was very fascinating and very interesting and fun to watch. Just fun to watch. Hope you'll really enjoy in this movie. And then you have, of course, the glue of the entire Avengers Infinity War thing. You know, Agent Romanoff, Black Widow. You really don't think that she's the glue of the team. You know, she's always just been, from the very first movie, from the very first time you see her in Iron Man 2, she's just that kick-butt woman that you just don't want to mess with, you know? But when you really look deeper into her character, you really see that everything that she's been doing is just trying to keep the team together. And the way they use her, story-wise, is very important in terms of the whole movie, and it's something that I think, it's something that I just didn't expect. Like, I didn't expect her to be the glue of the series, the glue of the team, and yet that's exactly what she is. She is the glue of the team. It's just interesting how they used her story-wise. And then you had Thor. Now, Thor, my god, Thor has some of the best moments in the movie, and it's great because he really does need his moments. The way they used him, both humor and character-like and character design, it makes sense. It's a progression for the character. Maybe not the progression that you necessarily want at first, but when you just kind of just sit back and watch the movie, enjoy the movie, you see how every single point of Thor, especially for Thor, everything that Thor does in this movie, and the way he looks, and everything is just story-driven in terms of Thor, and it's great. It's just fantastic for him. And same thing with Rocket Raccoon. You never think, oh, I'm going to actually care about this stupid raccoon. But my god, the story-driven parts of it is just impressive, and it's impressive how they use it, especially with Nebula. So Nebula was never a character that I thought I would care about. She's always just been a villain. You know, who cares about Nebula? Now, they did have that sister moment thing in Avengers Infinity War, and I never cared about Nebula. Never. But the way they use her story-wise just makes a lot of sense, and you end up appreciating Nebula more in this movie than you ever had before. In fact, you end up appreciating the entire Marvel franchise a lot more because of this movie, and it's just fantastic. Now, let's talk about the big guy, Thanos. Okay, I will say this. They could have used him more. I kinda wish there were more Thanos in this movie, but you know what? Avengers Infinity War is really Thanos' movie, and this movie is really the Avengers trying to come together, deal with the fact that they lost, and move on and win the next war. And this really didn't need to be Thanos' movie. I just expected more Thanos. But in terms of story, and that's what I'm getting down to, it is a very, very story-driven movie. And while I would love more Thanos in it, because he was such a fantastic character in the first movie, Avengers Infinity War, everything they used for him in terms of story was just perfect. As much as I would love more of him in there, I didn't need more of him in there, and that's just fine with me. Now, Captain Marvel. You know what? Everyone thinks Captain Marvel is going to be the biggest reason why we will win against Avengers Infinity War. And like I said, all your theories are correct, but not in the way you think. I will say this. I expected Miss Marvel to be a lot more in the story, and in terms of story, she wasn't. But you know what? While a lot of people might not like that, I actually do, because I never really cared much of Miss Marvel. I cared more for our original Avengers team. So it's actually nice that she takes a seat back and we give the spotlight to the characters who really need it. Now, Hawkeye. Hawkeye was a very gracious surprise in this movie, and I enjoyed him very much. If I talk more about him, it will be spoiling the movie. So, there. And then, of course, you have Ant-Man. Now, I liked the first Ant-Man movie, but I never really thought of it much. And then, Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, was really enjoyable. I thought he was hilarious in Captain Marvel Civil War. But what's really interesting, and something that I really liked about this movie, is this movie makes everything when it comes to Ant-Man more relevant. It makes the Ant-Man movies more relevant than you think, than I thought. I never thought that they were going to go that route, a certain route, and they really did. And he kind of becomes the key to everything in the movie. And you kind of don't realize it until you actually watch the movie. You don't think that he's going to be the biggest part of the movie, but he really is, and it was just enjoyable for me. I actually ended up liking Ant-Man, and it's funny because I never really cared about Ant-Man until Avengers Infinity War. At least in the last movie, they made me care for Avengers and for Ant-Man. So that's fantastic. One last note before I end this video. This movie is long. This movie is fantastic. I love this movie. I really, really do. I still think Avengers Infinity War might have been a little bit better. I know, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but this movie, story-driven, is absolutely amazing. And something that I just love about it is that it actually really does feel like the combination of the last 10 plus years. It feels like the ending of the story, and I know they're going to be making more movies that takes place after it, but in terms of this movie is the end. This movie does feel like the end of 10 plus years, and it's so satisfying to watch the end of it. Thank you guys for watching. That was my non-spoiler review. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you going to see this movie? Are you a Marvel fan? And if you are a Marvel fan, why haven't you seen this movie yet? I'm out. Bye.